Guys, welcome to the very first episode of Moestradamis' NBA 2K Dynasty talk show. We go live every Monday. I give you guys some storylines with what's going on in the NBA 2K franchise, and we kind of give our thoughts on what we're seeing. Today we have a lot of trades. There haven't been a lot of games played yet, so today we'll really be breaking into some of the moves teams are making, our thoughts on some of those moves, and kind of where we see the league going from here. So the first big one is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is from the Jazz. He's a center, very big player, very good player. He ends up getting traded to the Wizards. Now, here's what the Wizards get. They get Gobert, they get Mike Oni. The Jazz receive Davis Bertans, Troy Brown, Robin Lopez, and a 2021 first that's top 5 protected. So if it's within the top 5 picks, they don't get it. That's how that kind of works. Here's the thing. Does this make the Wizards a top 3 team in the East? I don't think it does. As we'll see, both Boston and Toronto are going to want to make moves coming up. They both have their hand on the cookie jar trying to do some things, and I have both those teams ahead of them. While I think adding Gobert to the Raptors will allow them to compete for a top 3 team in the East, it's still going to be a fight. They still need to go out there and earn it. I think it does help them significantly when you can go grab a 28-year-old, 87 overall center to come in and do some things. I think that's a great thing. There's a lot of teams in the East, though, that are going to be making moves. And I don't sit here and go, yes, with this one move, this puts the Wizards in the top 3. They've got some work to do. The Wizards are a young, up-and-coming team. They should be fun to watch. They've got some work to do. On the other side, is this making the Jazz a playoff team? Jazz are in a full rebuild. I think Troy Brown is going to be a very good player. He's the big piece that's involved in this comeback for me because of his age and because of what he could potentially become. At the same time, Davis Bertans, okay. Robin Lopez, okay. You get the top 5 protected first pick. If you don't hit on that pick, you just traded one of the best centers in the league for Troy Brown. So when I look at this, it's a very risky trade for the Jazz. I hope it works out for you, but if it doesn't work out for you, this is going to be the one that you look at and say, yo, I've messed this one up. This was not a good enough trade for me. I got to do a better job going forward. Moving on to the next one. Lou Dort. This is one that I'm sure a lot of teams wanted. They would like to get their hands on a player like Lou Dort. The Thunder are getting Terrence Davis. They're getting Stanley Johnson. They're getting Patrick McCaw, and they're getting a 2021 first top 5 protected pick. The Raptors on the backhand, they are getting George Hill. I'm gonna mess his name up. Aleksej Pokusevski and Lou Dort. Here's the thing. Right? Does this put Toronto into a championship contention? Toronto's already in championship contention as far as I'm concerned. Their window is already kind of open. They are a top team in the East. They've got a very good roster. They already had a championship window. Hill gives them a player off the bench right now that can come in. I think he can be productive off the bench. And they also have, I'm going to call him Alec. Okay, Alec and Dort both are very young players. They both can grow and compete and continue to keep this window open. So I think it's a great move for Toronto. I think they went and did something very significant, and this could just prolong that window because I believe that window is still vaguely open. On the back end of this, are the Thunder stacking up these picks over here, right? Or are they potentially trying to compete? They're going full rebuild. I don't look at this Thunder team right now and say this is going to help you. If they are looking at Alec and Dort and being like, yo, you just aren't fit for my team, this is the time for them right now to make that move and say, yo, we got to get these guys out of here. We got to move on. We got to build for the future. Having said that, Terrence Davis is the guy coming back that I'm assuming they're looking at and going like, yo, can he be a star? Here's the thing about Terrence Davis. He didn't figure it out in Toronto, right? He's an average player. He's a good shooter. But if he wants to take that next step and he wants to become a great player, he's got to develop an inside game. He has to get better getting to the boards, and he has to get better at putting the basket in while he's down low. Right now, he's a 6'5" shooter, and that's what he is. And he's guarding guys that are out there, but if he wants to take that step and become a key contributor, a guy that is needed on a championship team, he's got to develop an inside game. Moving on to our next one. Here, I got to step in. The hardest part for this for me is I don't watch the NBA consistently enough to tell you all of these guys from all of these other countries how to pronounce their names. We're going into the next one. I'm going to mess this up. You guys are going to give me crap. It is. I don't care. Right? The Nuggets are receiving Sekau Domboya, Dazanan Musa, Rodney McGruber, that one was easy, a 2021 second-round pick via the Lakers, and the Pistons see back Will Barton and Vlatko Gankar. Okay? Does this trade make the Pistons a playoff team finally? No. And here's why. The team's not good enough to get past anybody in the East. Before this trade, Detroit was ranked as the second worst roster in this entire game. You know who could beat them on paper right now? The Hornets. The Hornets right now are the only team on paper coming into NBA 2K21 that could beat them just on their rating alone. Is Will Barton and Vlatko Kankar going to help make them relevant? No. Hell no. It's not happening. So while I look at this and be like, yo, Detroit, good job making something happen, it wasn't anything happening that's going to make you relevant. These aren't the things that you do that are going to get you out of that one. Now, on the other side, the Nuggets, they are definitely unloading a lot of salary cap. But here's the problem. You're unloading a lot of salary cap, and you haven't been relevant since Melo cut his dreads and AI walked from that building. Team players don't want to go play there, so they're going to unload all this salary. They're going to get all of this money, and they're going to be like, yo, I'm going for a guy like Giannis. And Giannis is going to be like, but you have no roster. I can't win with Denver, so I'm going to go someplace else. That's the problem. You've got to do more than what you're doing. Just getting guys out and getting salary cap from a Suns fan is not going to help you out. I promise. Teams are not going to go play for you if you can't win. Here's a question they got to ask me. Why are the Pistons trading one of their only bright spots on the team? Why are they doing that? Why are they taking one of their only good players and being like, yo, we're going to get him out of here? Because when teams look at themselves in the mirror and they don't like what they see back, they do stupid things. That's the nature of the business. If you don't like what you see, you move on, especially in the NBA. Now let's get into some great rumors, right? Some awesome things. These are the ones I've been waiting for. James Harden is on the move. Where he's going, we don't know, right? What teams out there could want the superstar? That's the question they got to ask me. And my answer to that is anybody. Anybody not making a play for James Harden right now is not doing this right. He's a bona fide superstar. He can elevate any team that he goes to. Even if it's the Detroit Pistons, who we just talked about and said they're irrelevant, James Harden is the kind of guy that can go there and make things happen. He's that good, right? So if you're wanting to get out of your cellar, if you're one of these teams that you're like, yo, I just don't got a lot to do, I'm going to do these things, go find ways to build assets to go get a guy like James Harden, because that's how you start winning. You go get some of the best players in the game. What team does he best fit with? The two major markets that keep coming up for James Harden are Philly and Houston. But if you're asking me where do I want to see homeboy go, I would love to see him go play for a team like the Magic. I would love to see a team that's on the down and outs that can consistently get back up there. If they can get some key pieces in that building, I would love to see him go over to a place like Orlando and restart a rebuild. I don't like these, let's go join up and let's richer get richer. Like, I don't like all that. I'd like to see somebody go get him where he actually turns the tide for somebody. That's where I'd like to see him go. Moving into the next one is something that was very intriguing. Now, across the dirt sheets, we'll call them, we saw a lot of whistle and smoke and whatever you want to call it about Boston trying to get a superstar. And the superstar that they were continuing to try to get to was Dame Dollar, right? That's who they wanted. They wanted to go get one of the best point guards, Damian Lillard, who is also a rap phenom, over in Boston. Now, the Blazers came back and they said, we're shutting that down, right? Why are the Blazers doing this? Here's the thing. The Blazers are a very good team. Blazers can be a championship contending team. But they've got to do some things to get some pure shooters and some defenders around Damian Lillard for him to be successful. Again, this is my opinion. You might disagree with me. You might be like, Mo, you don't know. You don't watch it as consistently as I do. I watch Damian Lillard I don't give a shit. I don't care. This is my show, and I'm talking about what I want to talk about. And I'm telling you that if I think the Blazers are going to win, they need some height, they need some shooters, they need some guys that can play some defense and allow Damian Lillard to expand all of his energy on scoring and distributing because that's what he does best. If they want to win, they need to be making moves to make that happen. If they aren't willing to do those things to make it happen, then you should probably trade Damian Lillard for the best thing that you can get. And if Boston's willing to give you a whole bunch, because Boston's got a bunch, I would really contemplate making that deal happen. Boston, on the other hand, they're looking for some big moves. They've reached out about Damian Lillard. They've reached out about James Harden. They're doing everything they can to go serious into this. And if they want to get serious, they need to add more. Right? These teams are declining your trades because you're not offering enough. Take that, intake it, and go like, yo, if I want these guys, these are the things I got to add in here. Do what you got to do because if you can add a guy like Damian Lillard or James Harden to the core that you have set yourself up very nicely. Figure out who's a part of that core, who does not make you better, who can you eliminate to add one of those guys, and do those guys help you win a championship? I think they do. Figure it out. Moving into a team that we just talked about, the Magic, right? Now, when you asked me about the Magic, I said they need to go get a star. They need to go get a guy like Damian Lillard. They need to go get a guy like James Harden. They need to go get one of these guys to pair with Aaron Gordon. But what have the Magic done so far? So far, they have benched Aaron Gordon off their preseason. Why? Why have they done this? This was the question that's posted right here. Why did they do this? Why? Because this is what bad teams do. They stay bad. A good GM would be doing whatever they could to pair Gordon with another superstar. Gordon could be a good number 2 piece or a great number 3 piece, but right now he's a bench piece, and that is pathetic. You need to be doing whatever you can to make him significant. Aaron Gordon could be a significant piece on your team, but right now he's not doing anything. Now, the back end of this are people are going, yeah, but Mo, he might not be playing him because what happens if he plays him in preseason and he gets hurt? He's got him worked up for a trade. Here's the thing, Orlando. It doesn't matter who you're trading Aaron Gordon for. I don't care if it's, unless it's a LeBron James or a Giannis Antetokounmpo, unless it's one of the top players in the league that you are trading Aaron Gordon for, you're not doing this right. Because you could be going to get a guy like a James Harden, right? Or you could be getting a guy that's like an 80-something overall good player. But who does he come in and play with? You don't have a good enough roster. You're essentially unloading one superstar for another superstar when what you should be doing is figuring out a way to make Aaron Gordon a piece that can be vital on your team and getting somebody next to him. So if the idea is, yo, I'm going to sit Aaron Gordon out because I'm going to trade him for another star, who's that star going to play with? You're still going to be one of the worst teams in the league. My opinion, find a way to keep your guy and to add somebody else. You got the pieces that you should be able to do that. Here's another guy that gets brought up, Cole Anthony, right? And people are like, well, Cole Anthony does a really good job. Is he going to be like he wasn't just one of the best players in preseason as a rookie. He was one of the best players in preseason altogether. And people are like, yo, but can't he be a piece that does it? Here's the thing about Cole Anthony. He has all of the keys to be a bright spot, but rookies are going to be rookies. Expecting greatness from guys that aren't great is a recipe for disaster, right? And could he be great? Yes. If you expect him to be great when he has shown flashes, you're going to fail, right? That's not fair for him, and it's not fair for anybody else on that team. The goal should be to build the team around him that allows him to grow naturally and grow into that position to be great. Put great players around him so he learns from those players and can eventually become great. But if you have a guy and you're like, yo, in preseason he was really good, man, it's preseason. That's worse than practice, in my opinion, right? Preseason means nothing. If he's going in there and he was the preseason star, none of those stats even matter, and no one's going to remember any of that. If you're wanting him to grow him naturally. If you're wanting to make him a franchise piece right now, I'm telling you, as you go play these good teams, they're going to shut him down. He's not good enough right now to do that. Again, that's my opinion. You may not like it. Don't ask me to do the show if you don't. Next question was, do you think DeMar is going back to Toronto? Reports have come out that the Spurs and the Raptors are both discussing trades that involve DeMar, but when Pascal Siakam came to a halt when Pascal Siakam was wanted by the Spurs. So the Raptors weren't about to unload Pascal, and unless that's happening, it didn't look like the Spurs were going to make that move. But here's the thing. DeMar and the Raptors have mutual interest in free agency, so a reunion could be coming in this next offseason. If they don't find a way to trade him for something else and he just ends up walking into free agency, there's a good chance that DeMar just goes, yo, I'm going back to Toronto. I liked playing there. I've got friends over there. We have great relations over there. That's where I want to be. So he could very easily end up going back. Now, Kyle Lowry, on the other hand, is expected to take a hometown discount in order to stay to help this team make a splash in the offseason so that they can go after a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know I'm saying that wrong. And I've heard his name like 50 billion times, and I still have a hard time saying this. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think I said that right. Now, here's the other big piece. The Dallas Mavericks have expressed interest or some worry about Kristaps Porzingis. The Mavs are worried about his injury history. They're not saying he's untouchable, and they have been in contact with other teams about the big piece. Other teams are reaching out, and they're like, yo, can he be made available? And when they're expecting to hear, like, no, he can't, they're being met with a surprise, going like, yeah, what are you offering? Now, the Mavs and the Clippers have been having some tweet wars lately. If you've been on Twitter and you're wanting something engaging, I suggest you check these guys out. Get at them in their Discord service, and we'll try to get their usernames out here next time. But, I mean, it's been a lot of fun to watch. They're having a war on Twitter in which Luka was bullied by Marcus, and then James Johnson called out Luka's bodyguard. PG-13 had something to say about Luka, and Luka continues to clap back. So it's been a lot of fun seeing some of their Twitter wars going all crazy. We'll kind of see what makes out of that. And for our last piece, this is the biggest piece for me. This was the one looking at this list, by far the biggest one. Are the Bucks going to be able to keep Giannis? I didn't say his last name because I don't want to mess it up. Giannis wants to win. He wants the team in Milwaukee right now to win a championship. Are they good enough to do that? They've added some pieces. Here's my take on Giannis. If he's as good as what everybody says, this team right now is good enough for him to be able to compete for a championship, especially out in the East. He's got to step up and he's got to do it. There's no more excuses. There's no more, I need somebody better. It's not. You can do it. You're a good enough player to do it. You just have to have the mindset to be great. Does he sign a max contract, though, and get traded? I don't think he does. I do not see him signing that max deal and then forcing whoever's coming to get him to unload some of their better key pieces and saying, like, yo, we're going to bring you in, but for us to do that, I got to unload all the guys you could potentially play with. I think Giannis, if he's really wanting to win, will walk out. He'll take less money, and he'll go sign somewhere else that he can go to where he can keep a roster intact. Guys, that is our show for the week. It was a lot of fun to do this. I'm really appreciative of the SPA 2K team for reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of something like this. We look forward to doing it every single week, every single Monday. We'll be bringing you some new info. Next week, we'll try to get you in some games. Check these guys out. They're a lot of fun. The games are phenomenal. If you missed Trey winning a championship, you missed out. Like, it was entertaining as could be. Congratulations to you guys. We look forward to this next season. I will see all of you next week.